Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Gumroad Creators Studio. Happy to have you here from all over the world. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening from wherever you are, and welcome. Honored to be here in the presence of four great creators, very successful Gumroad creators and thinkers. We are targeting people who may not have created anything in their lives and sold it online. And they will hopefully gain a lot from this conversation. And there's no four people that are better able to speak to that than our four panelists, who I'll introduce in just a moment. I'd like just briefly to talk about the Gumroad mission. It's very simple. We want to make it easy for creators to do what they love and make money online. And we want to help more creators make more money. It's a pretty simple proposition and value prop. Gumroad now has 40,000 creators on the platform, and in total, over the last 9 years, they've earned 300. So when we posted the invite to this event, there was a comment that he's not just a creator, he's a legend. I agree. Former professional heavyweight boxer, competitive chess player, author, successful creator. Ed focuses on self-improvement, self-empowerment, self-sufficiency, living life with a purpose. He also talks about forgiveness and sobriety. So Ed, welcome. I'll continue to introduce Daniel Vassallo, previously the creator of Userbase and a successful technologist at Amazon for more than 8 years. Left that position, a lucrative one, in 2019 to pursue an independent lifestyle, to simplify his lifestyle. And he, as he told me in a previous conversation, was looking to make a living with his bare hands. And he has written very persuasively and compellingly about leaving the rat race and becoming an independent creator. So happy to have you here as well, Daniel. All right, Bianca, her and I spoke this morning as well. Bianca's a full-time entrepreneur, 8+ years now, and a veteran Gumroad creator, more than 4 years on the platform, has launched successfully more than 100 products on Gumroad, 20 of which are permanent, and she does weekly launches and so-called 2-week launches where a product will live ephemerally for that 2-week period. And then she accompanies that with the evergreen content. She's also the president of Caden K Consulting, where she advises professional services folks, some of whom can pivot their businesses from services to a product plus services business. So thank you for being here, Bianca. Dontez, welcome to you as well. 21 years old and very successful at that young age. You have made more than $400,000 as a creator in total revenue, just a tremendous record of achievement in the last 3 years, teaching folks e-commerce, Shopify, websites, and digital advertising, including Facebook ads. Welcome and thank you for being here. I would love to talk about how you all get over how intimidating it can be to envision a product and then bring it to fruition. Some people have a hard time getting over that hump. And maybe Dontez, if you want to respond to that.
You just have to make it simple enough for them to resonate and to be able to, you know, put that picture together and see the results and see exactly what you were talking about.
Ed, do you have thoughts on that topic?
Yeah, sure. So a lot of times for me, I look at it's riskier to not take action than it is to take it, because I know what the failure is like, and it's not that bad. Like, I was baptized by fire very much. Like, there was not a comfortable position I was coming from to get into e-commerce. I was still not e-commerce, into digital courses and everything like that. I wasn't like coming from a job or something, and you know, I was more or less just kind of moving like a shark. I had to keep moving, keep creating. So there was never a comfortable time. So to me, I never thought, okay, I'm going to go back to what I was, and there was no job to leave. It was just, okay, if you fail, you're just kind of back where you were, and that's what makes it possible. And then, like, having faith in what I learned and did. I mean, I was like, I can demonstrate, for example, that I know Twitter. I felt like that was good enough. I saw a few other people take a stab at the whole I want to grow Twitter niche, and I said, well, I've got the biggest account of all of them. This should be an easy way to jump. So, like, to sum that piece of advice up, if you're in a spot where you're confident in your knowledge and you've demonstrated the results, you have the receipts, as we say, then that should really help you take that first step and get through and take the necessary risk. And it's not even really a risk.
I'm going to give Daniel and Bianca, if you'd like to jump in.
No, I agree with Ted. It's easy to visualize the downside. I mean, what's the worst case? That's how I thought about it myself when I did my first ebook. I said I'll spend a couple of weeks working on it. That's sort of a limited cost. And worst case scenario, if it doesn't sell anything, I'll just release it for free. I'll convert it to blog posts. So it was a very, very limited bet and risk-free almost experiment.
For me, it was just an easier transition because I had already had people that were spending, hundreds of dollars with me to talk to me one-on-one. And so my thing was, I'm not getting the low-hanging fruit. And so people buy into people that they like and that they know and that they trust. And so how am I able to reach these people without giving my time for free, but still having that impact? And so I believe in building a brand and then building a business in conjunction to it. And so those smaller products was you buying into me and me teaching you to spend some type of money with me. You don't have to spend $300, but you got to spend $19 for this digital product or $59 yourself. And so it was those low-hanging fruits of products. And so it was an easy transition for me because it wasn't my only source. It wasn't my only stream of income. It was in addition to. And so that's what we teach, how to diversify your business model. And so digital products is not all that I had. It was in addition to the other things that I had to give me that work-life balance and freedom. And so the thing that I would tell people is to just, perfect Patty is broke. And you trying to wait till the perfect time is a reason why you can't make the money that you want or go to the next level. And so I'm all about launches. So I'll think about it, make the sales page, put it out there, see how it do good for, I'll launch it for maybe 2 weeks, then it's closed. So I kind of created that urgency of, if you don't buy it in these 2 weeks, like, you won't be able to buy it. And so that's why we have so many products. But I think that's why so many people gravitated to us, because it is like a drop. Like, this is all that we have, close it and kind of move on to something else. And so I've kind of built that momentum. And so maybe you should try that. Like, try it, put it out, promote it, see how it does. If it doesn't do good, okay, take it down and make something else. And so that's how I've kind of looked at it from creating digital products. Think about it, put it out. If it does, great, good. If it doesn't, that's cool too. Let me make something else, because I'm always creating. And so I think that's what really helps me. And so that will what can help you too. You have many things that you're going to put out. One might not do. One might be a seasonal product. One might be an evergreen product, but think about it, put it out. And if it does well, you can go back and make it better. And so that's what we do here.
I have a sort of a hybrid or a composite question. I'm starting to look at the Q&A in the chat, and allow me to bring a couple of them together and then add a piece to it. Atara and Simisola have asked a similar question. The first question is Gumroad naturally targeted at a specific or certain kind of content? So that's sort of question one. The second question is, can you sell non-course related material, stuff like fiction books and so forth? And with those two questions as a pretext, I'll simply ask, in your view, what makes a successful Gumroad product? Maybe Ed.
I'll jump. I always say that the Gumroad or Teachable or Udemy, whatever you want to use, those are just conduits for your knowledge. It doesn't really. I don't say it doesn't really matter, because then that's like saying, oh, it's all equivalent to Gumroad. Gumroad is great because I know you said, don't like hype up Gumroad or whatever, but it really is simple and easy to kind of get your stuff up there, and the user interface is great. So with that said, it's just a tool. What really matters is that you have something that you can put into the digital delivery format, right? And we've been saying courses, and if you want to be technical about it, like I think I only have one course in the sense that there's videos and everything, but for the most part it's PDFs. My first book that I had to actually take off, you guys, sorry, but I put on Amazon as the unlimited, so like they wanted it in only one place, and that's Amazon. Otherwise they come at you anyway. But the point is, like, I had my book there, and I was selling for like $7 or whatever. But you can put anything that you can put into a digital format. You can even, I mean, I don't know quite like how the interface would work on this. Any of the e-commerce guy, Dontez perhaps would know, but you can set up it to deliver physical products as well. It just is it's good for whatever you want to sell on the internet. If you can sell it on the internet, you can sell it via Gumroad, legally, I should add.
And so I would piggyback on that. I don't have a course. Like, I have one course, but everything is, I'm a live streamer, so I go live a lot. And so I repackage that live and then make a worksheet to go with it and put it on Gumroad. And so I'm not creating full-blown perfect courses that are PowerPoints and like, it's us having a regular conversation of me giving you my intellectual property, and I monetize it. And so I talk notes on my phone, download it, put it up on Gumroad. I'm on Zoom like this talking to myself, and I record it and put it on Gumroad. And so it doesn't have to be an entire course. It can be a 20-minute training that you've thought out and spoke to the camera and upload it in a matter of like 10 minutes. I have a course on like how to create your Gumroad store in 10 minutes. Like, you can record it, put it up, make a worksheet, and just kind of be done with it. And so that's one thing that I really like about Gumroad, is that I'm not into learning new things that I cannot monetize. And so Gumroad was that, okay, let me try it for a day to see if it works. Okay, I got it. Let me put it up. It's not a huge learning curve for Gumroad. I have the idea, press the button, upload it, put the graphic. Okay, it's kind of good to go. And so those other platforms, it's a real learning curve for it. And so I'm not willing to invest that much time into something that I don't know I'll get my ROI. And the price, let's talk about the price. So the price to be on Gumroad is very reasonable too. Like, I think it's like start off for free, and then it's $10, and then it's $25 a month. Like, it's a very low cost offer to actually start it. So I made my first $20,000 off of a $10 a month account, like, so yeah, I think that Gumroad is a great place for you to start. And not because I'm on Gumroad. Like, Gumroad is actually a client of mine too. I started off being a client of theirs, and I still am for 4 years, but I'm actually one of the project managers that manage a lot of the Gumroad products. And so I believe in the brand and the vision. And so I'm currently, one of their project managers. And so I think that it's definitely a great place to start. Also, to piggyback off that, it's updates all the time. And so Sahil, he's really good about giving you the updates and showing you a video on how it actually works. And so that's the thing that I like about it. Hey, I updated this. I did a quick tutorial to kind of show you how to do it. And so as he builds it, we build our platform as well. And so that's one thing that I really do like about it. When he learned it, he's going to teach it to you. And so that's one thing that's really great about the platform as well.
Daniel or Dontez, or I can shift to a next.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think something I was going to add is that I used to think that, for example, writing a book is something that would typically take, months, if not years. I used to hear from colleagues that has written books with traditional publishers, and I sort of learned from them that they spend lots of time, nights and weekends for many months But I think it can be very, very different, and that's sort of, I think, something you can do in this creative economy. Right? It doesn't need to be anything super polished. As Bianca was saying, it could literally be just a brain dump of something you already did, right? Maybe just to package it. And there's lots of opportunities here, I think, if you can use your imagination and be a bit creative without necessarily, because I don't think production quality is that important, right? In this type of business, it's more what you're delivering, right? Especially the condensing of, I heard a tweet, I don't know who tweeted it about it, but most of these products are like condensing sometimes 10 years of experience into like a 30-minute read of an ebook, right? Or into 30-minute video course. And I think that's where creators should focus on, not in obsessing about the cover and the table of contents or the sort of the layout and things like that, right? Or adding filler content to make it look big and whatever. I think there's tons and tons of opportunity to just go after, busy people that just want to learn what you've learned in your experience. And it looks like, I mean, there's something that I'm learning as well. It looks like people are willing to take their wallets out of their pocket and spend $10, $20 to get that information.
For me, personally, I feel like, to make a great course or ebook, I personally don't have any type of books or anything. I've never been the one to be able to express my words through, writing things out. I've always been the type of person to communicate things. So me personally, I have 3 different courses. And what I've learned throughout creating these courses is it's just about simplicity and value, and how simple can you make someone understand what you're trying to get to them. Being able to resonate with somebody through a video or through a book is a fantastic way for someone else to grow and understand a different perspective on things. And, for me, your first course is never going to be perfect. It's just about starting. And, I tell the people in my group chat all the time, when you start something, you're never ultimately failing, because at least you've done something. You're not just out here not doing anything. So when you create your first course, you may get some emails, you may not get a sale, it's okay, but at least you got something, you got farther than where you started at, and that's all that matters. So, Gumroad is a fantastic place, like I said, to be able to, easily be able to maneuver into it. And then, again, using simplicity and value to make sure that you can sell whatever you're trying to sell or whatever you're trying to get across to people. That's what I think is some of the most important key factors for making a good course or, getting sales with Gumroad.
We're getting a ton of great questions in the chat. Why don't I try to merge a few together, and I'll cover 2 topics at once, and you can take it in any direction you'd like. The first topic is shifting from a full-time creator or full-time job to a full-time creator. There's questions around, is it necessary to do that? Can you, if you had an hour or 2 a day, would that be enough to start creating, putting your products on Gumroad? And then what factors would you consider once you started getting traction to make the leap? So that's topic 1. Topic 2, we're getting a lot of questions around pricing. Bianca already brought it up, but I'd love to hear from the other 3 of you about pricing. In particular, the price you would set products very early on before you have a large following, when you're so-called, quote unquote, unknown. How do you think about pricing, or how did you think about pricing if that applied to you? So again, the first topic is the shift from full-time job to full-time creator, and the second topic is pricing.
Great. Those are fun questions, man. So on the first thing, making the shift. So I did not, when I started creating on Gumroad, I was actually in my final year of school, and I was tutoring to pay the bills because no one would hire me at a wage high enough, and I needed to finish school and not get a job. So that was that was like baptism by fire on starting my own business, running myself, recruiting clients, all that. And then going into creation after I think I published my book on Amazon first as well. There were just so many other things that just kind of played together that was like, okay, this is just a natural jump. How is that like relevant to the typical person's situation? If I could like go back and do it all over again, I would have started creating immediately and put something on Gumroad, because over time, like you benefit from time. It's like anything else, like that has a cumulative effect. You will grow in followers. Assuming you put out like some good stuff, not some trash, you'll grow in followers, fans, support, reviews. All those things are functions of time, and you don't really need to go at this thing full time. There's a lot of ego in that thought process that you need to start doing this full time. The reality is that look, if you make enough money doing this full time from the jump, you consider yourself like a lottery winner. Like, yeah, some people win the lottery, obviously, but most people don't. Just ease your way into it, learn the ropes, figure out what works for you, what you're comfortable with, and really don't make the jump until, if I could give you like a metric, you feel like you have enough kind of sitting in the bank to cover your expenses plus some, and then you know that what's going to come in, like you're pretty confident. You know, there's a lot of uncertainty when you're selling for yourself, but you can pretty much figure out what your next 2 months are going to look like in terms of your bank account, based on, you know, what you've been doing. If you keep doing this, there's no tragedy, nothing crazy. When that projection amount covers what's sitting in your, you know, what your bank account to for 1 month of expenses, so you're doubled up, is where I would go. If I could give you like a hard, fast rule to follow, or at least something to God. Yeah, when you've doubled up on your living expenses and with a little bit of extra over to party and have some fun with. As far as pricing goes, in my experience, I tend to err on the side of too little, and that's just my own perceptions with money growing up poor. What I've learned is that, yeah, you know, when you're good at something, like the Joker says in The Dark Knight, when you're good at something, never do it for free. If you're good and you got your name behind it, you can charge probably whatever you think you should charge, probably up that by like 20%, and that's probably closer, because it's natural for us to be a little more timid at the beginning, what we're questioning ourselves, when in reality is, you know, if you're doing a good job, um, people will talk about it. They'll also talk about it if you're doing a bad job. So don't worry too much about poor feedback. Like, don't make a price based on it being good or bad, because you should be putting out your best product each time anyway. Price it, you know, ask some people, look around your competitors, and then try and do a little more. Let's read some of the comment, but yeah, so that's my opinion on those two things.
Yeah, I think I agree, right? I think so. On the first question about leaving your job, I can't really answer from first-hand experience, because I did leave my job. I think I had the kind of job which consumed all my energy, and it would have been quite hard to dedicate time to building an audience and doing the kinds of things that I ended up doing. Nevertheless, I don't think it should be an excuse for people not to try. I think, as Ed said, I mean, time compounds and what you put out compounds. So I think very likely, if I had to go back in time, probably I would try to do something at least while I still had my job, even if it was just putting stuff out for free to start building my audience a little bit before, because I started from, I think I had like 100 followers on Twitter when I left my job. But it would have been great if I had a name already, even if it was just a little bit. And not just that, I think it just gives you more experience. Like, it took me a few months to realize, actually, what can I talk about? What would people listen to? So those are things that I had to learn from scratch while I had absolutely no income. Right? It's good to get that practice happening before. About pricing, yeah, I completely agree with Ted. I would err on low, especially in the beginning. Pricing definitely matters, and I think it's sort of quite fascinating how much conversion rates and things like that are affected by whether you price something for $50 or $20 or $10. But I think there's so many variables in the beginning when you're just starting whether the products will resonate, whether you have a good enough audience, whether you have good enough distribution, that I would try to put the pricing at least to as a constant. You don't want to be wondering whether, for example, you're not selling just because the price is too high, right? I would rather start with low and then adjust course along the way. Maybe maybe either increase the price later, or maybe add a new product at a higher price, or add an add-on to your basic product so that you sort of can upsell and charge more. But I would probably start, on the low side. I think probably something between $10 and $20 probably feels like a good ballpark that would make probably even more on the $10 side, right? That would make almost impulse buys and sort of help you facilitate the initial ramp up.
I think everybody also wants to hear from Dontez and Bianca on this topic, but one quick follow-up to you, Daniel. One of the first questions we received was, how did your set your own price experiment go? The pay as much as you want.
Oh yeah, it was funny. So another experiment that I thought about and I tried out in a minute. It made over $7,000, I think, in a few. I think so. I was going to leave it only for just an hour, but I was getting so many sales that I felt bad sort of stopping the fire hose. So I left it for about 6 or 7 hours, I think, right? And it ended up doing about $7,000. I can't really say, because basically for those that who don't know, I pretty much reduced my prices to $1 for just an hour, with pay as you want, right? So there's this feature on Gumroad where you can input your price. And actually I was surprised. There were quite a lot of people that paid more than the $1, that paid $10 or even more. But I think what I need to look at now is, like, I need to wait, because my products were doing about $15,000 a month for the last 2 months without almost no promotion. I haven't been tweeting much about them. They were pretty much just momentum. So I'm curious now to see the next month whether I've eaten into my, people that would have bought at full price, but bought it at $1, like how much this will affect in the future. But yeah, I think it was a good experiment. I definitely got lots of people to know more about me, right? So I got more people in my mailing list. I think about 3,000 new customers, right? So quite interesting. But yeah, I think I like experimenting with these things. And for example, I'm quite fascinated by Bianca's approach with these ephemeral products. Right? It's something I never thought about, right? All these things. This business, I think, requires some of these imaginative, sometimes creative ways of promoting and finding customers.
Well, I think based off of, like, topic one, like you were saying, quitting your job and, going full-time creator. I personally feel like you shouldn't leave yet until you know your pockets. And that's why I tell a lot of my friends, what's going on with your finances better than anybody does. So, if you're getting paid enough from your courses or whatever you're selling, if you're getting paid enough to where it's paying, not only do you have a comfortable amount, like Ed was saying, in your bank account, and, you can, the next couple months are paid for, but the money that's coming in, like he was saying as well, you got to know, based off your experience of, running whatever you're running for, however long you're running it, you got to know if you're going to be able to generate that amount of money to be able to pay for your cost of living. So, a big thing for me is, it only takes about 1 hour to 2 hours a day to work on your course. People have 1 to 2 hours, but it's disguised as the things that they want to do, but they don't need to do. People are often, doing stuff like sitting on their phones and watching movies, when you can, replace that and just start working on the course, putting notes down on your phone. It's easy to get caught up in the stuff that's going on around you, when you could be doing other things. And, for example, before I quit my job, I used to wake up an hour or two before I would go to work on my website. And then during my lunch break, I would continue working on ads. And then after work, I'd stay after an hour after, because I was selling cars. I was able to stay after and utilize the computers that I had. And then, continue working on my ads or my website. So there's always time there. You just have to be able to find it. And to go to topic 2, I actually forgot, what was topic 2? Pricing. Oh, so pricing, yeah, like Ed was saying, like, pricing is kind of difficult because, you feel like, I don't want to charge people too much, but then again, I don't want to charge too little. And for me, I think it's based off of your results, if you have any results. You know, for me in the e-commerce space, you know, doing the amount of money that I was doing at the time, you know, doing hitting 6 figures in 5-figure months, I felt like, you know, I have enough knowledge to be able to teach someone. And then also being able to duplicate your process within somebody else. You know, I taught another person and then they were able to get the same results as me. So I'm like, okay, well, if I could teach someone else, I can teach another person. And, you know, you continue that process, but you have to know if you're able to do that. So, you know, like Daniel was saying, you know, start within like $10 to $20 range. If you're doing a course and it's something like a PowerPoint, you put a lot of time into it, you know, do like $25 to $50, you know, just see where it is. You know, if you get a lot of sales, then try moving the price up later down the line. If you're not getting a lot of sales, then move it down. You know, it's not really about the price. It's more so about getting the confidence of knowing that you can sell it at whatever price that you're selling it at. It's just about value and, you know, and how you getting it out to the people. So, yeah.
Bianca, you already talked about pricing, but if you want to add on that or sort of the transition that we talked about.
So I strongly believe, if you follow me, I say all the time that full-time entrepreneurship isn't for everyone, but part-time is. And so I think that being a digital creator would be able to do that. Me and my clients, we dedicate an hour a day to working on digitizing our business. And so it doesn't take a lot to be able to do it. Since I also do services, I'm a project manager and a business growth strategist. My goal is to use digital products as a funnel. And so I want you to buy into me. And I want you to spend some money, but you're probably not at that $2,000 to $10,000 range of what we charge for services. And so I like to funnel my clients. I want you to start off at lower tier. And so I don't have freebies. And so my rule of thumb is you're going to spend some type of money. And so it's usually that $19 mark. And if you go to the FEE calculator.com, you can see how much money you get after the fees are taken out. And so I'm not doing all this for $3 or $5 or $10. Like I want my whole $15 or I want my whole $19. And so I just figure out like what's the price that I want, but I funnel my clients. And so my goal is to have one person spend $500 a month with me from digital. And so whatever that looks like, whether it's a $59 challenge, a $19 class, a $129 master class, the goal is for me to keep funneling you. So you always get, if you spend money with me once you'll always get discounts on all of my other stuff because I bring stuff out every week or every other day. I'm always in creation mode. But the good thing, the model that I have is that it's a limited edition. So if you sleep on it, it's gone. And so you have to wait until I bring it back out. And so I usually bring back out my old stuff on like a Labor Day or like a Valentine's Day. So I'll bring out some of my old stuff that you didn't buy before. I'll kind of bring those things out. And so I'm always in creation mode. I get bored easily. And so I've trained my people to get it now or you don't know if you're ever going to get it. And so it creates that scarcity. But I also believe in my lower tier products was for people that could not afford to work with me on a higher level. And so I'm always going to keep them underneath that $200 mark because I'm funneling you into buying a service. And so that's kind of how we've been operating for the past 3.5, 4 years, and it's been working seamlessly. But I want you to price accordingly to where you can eat. Like, don't let people take advantage of you. And I want you to think high before you think low. Like, start at making it $250 and let them know it's $150 off promo code that they can use to get it. And so then when it's closed and they see that $250 price, they're like, oh, I should have hopped on it before. And so I've trained my people to know when I first do it, it's a promo code for it. But once these promo codes are gone, and Gumroad has the ability for you to set like, hey, it's 20 of these left, it's 30 of these left. Once it's gone, it's gone. And so I kind of use that model, and it's really been working for me. So I would say price high, then go low. Like it's hard to be a $12 person, and now you have the receipts, the credibility, and the clientele but now they saw you as a $12 person, and now you like, well, I'm worth $548, but you was just $12, you know, a month ago. And so it's hard to build that. And so I'm always say aim high, then, you know, go low. It's $500, but I got a $300 off promo code that you can get it, you know, for the next week, but it's only for 50 people. So you got to kind of hop on it now, and then once it's gone, it's gone. So I would say go high, then low, not low, then high, because you already have built that I'm the best at what I do. I'm good at what I do. Like, you have to pay for this if you want to get in on it. But I would also, I'm really big on receipt collateral. Who else have you done this for? And so you kind of want to do some betas, maybe give 5 people it for free, get a testimonial, put that on there. And so now you have 5 people that saying it's awesome. So it must be worth, you know, $250. But that's how we operate here.
Well, I'm going to channel the panel, challenge the panelists here. We did 2 topics together at once. Now we're going to do 3, and maybe, although we only have 7 minutes left, I think let's add a little bonus content. If we go over, we go over. We already cleared that before we started. So 3 topics, and again, if we don't have to tackle them all at once, but I want to put them all on the table, depending on which ones you react to the most strongly. The first one is marketing. A lot of Gumroad creators are excellent and have a large following on Twitter. Some people don't like to use Twitter for whatever reason. They think they're not good at it, and they have great followings or great marketing channels elsewhere. I know, Daniel, you've used Reddit successfully, Dontez, Facebook, etc. So the first topic is marketing outside of Twitter. If you don't want to use Twitter as your central marketing channel, how do you use other platforms and channels? The second topic is inspiration, and that is other creators who inspire you, and other creators who you learn from. Happy to, if you want to share any of those, or how do you find topics that inspire products? So first topic, marketing. Second topic, inspiration, both people and topics. And then the last one is metrics. What are the metrics that you track that are maybe counterintuitive and would not, if for a new creator, would not be something they think about right off the top of their heads?
Okay.
You want to go first?
Yeah, I'll go first.
Okay.
So the first one, marketing outside of Twitter. So people love Twitter because it is very easy to share and direct people to a link and get out and just connect with larger audiences. It's just easy if written word is your thing. If written word is not your thing, that kind of eliminates a website, which is also another way to promote, and in that a mailing list. But I know a lot of people who have had great success using Instagram stories and the swipe up feature and those, and the Instagram game is a little different than the Twitter game in terms of building a following. And that's beyond the scope of this conversation. But Instagram stories works great if just sitting there stationary or taking pictures in your thing, then you work with a YouTube channel and build that up, or a Facebook page to run ads and paid traffic and all that kind of thing. No matter what, you're gonna pay to market. Either you're gonna pay with time and brain power, creativity, and experiences, or you're gonna pay with cash, and it's gonna take a little time. You just want to pick the one that leans most into your personality and what works best for you. And then to the second question, inspiration, creator. I'm a big fan of watching what Chris Johnson does. I've learned quite a bit from just talking with him directly, and then seeing how he goes and makes money with his sales. It changed some of my thinking, and I'm not stubborn, but at the same time, I like to see someone's reasoning and the outcomes, because if you just look at outcomes and they don't have a good reasoning, they could have got lucky. And if they have a good reason, but the outcomes are trashed and they're just arguing for something they're comfortable with, it's good to see both when you look at someone to learn from, someone that can explain their process and continues to have repeatable good results. And Chris Johnson is really the best there is at that. Certainly a great guy to learn from. I'm sure he'll be on the panel sometime soon. As far as where the ideas come from, I just create what I'm good at and what I enjoy. I've been very fortunate that my interests and hobbies fall into line with what people want to pay for. That is great. I certainly don't know what I would do if I was interested in like basket weaving or something obscure like that. So that's where my inspiration comes from. I don't have anything. I don't look and go, oh, this is a trend. Let me hop on it. I don't care about money that much. Once I have enough to live and I'm doing good in that regard, then I just focus on what I'm building. And I cannot remember the third question. Or was that the third one?
Metrics.
Oh, metrics. You know what? I think I don't have a good answer to that. I wish I did. I think I track everything that most people think you should track. Conversions, where people are coming from, bounce rate. Gumroad doesn't really allow you to see time before bounce, just bounce rate. So if you could somehow track that, and I can see that on my website using the Gumroad overlay, so I can see, right. So there you go, like how long someone stays on the page. If you're running the overlay, where like you can set up your own web page and they click on it and then Gumroad goes through. That is really it. All the other metrics I think are pretty intuitive. I'm curious to see what everyone else says for that answer. I'm sure I'll learn something.
So I'll go next. I don't have a strong Twitter following. Like I just recently got back on Twitter, and so Twitter is not my platform of choice if I was to pick the first one, but I'm all about diversification. I want to have a presence everywhere. I'm really big on where I live and where I hang out. And so I live on Instagram. I have almost 30,000 followers there. You can follow me to get my followers up. Bianca S. Robinson. Bianca S. Robinson. You can follow me there. But I'm all about Instagram and Facebook is where I hang out. And so I go live. I do stories. I built my brand there. And so, no, I don't do Twitter. I go live a lot. We do Wednesdays consistently at 1 o'clock. I do a lunch and learn. But before that, 2017 to 2018, I went live every single day. That was a part of my marketing to go live on all of those platforms. But I'm all about, where I live and where I hang out. So I live on Instagram and I live on Facebook, but I hang out on Twitter and I hang out on LinkedIn and I hang out on Pinterest. I hang out on TikTok, which means I'm not making content specifically for there, but I'll share it on there. My content is made for IG and Facebook, but I share it on places that I hang out. And so that's been really big for me. I also use my mailing list a lot. Have almost 4,000 people on my mailing list. And so I'm really good at taking people from places that I cannot monetize or own, which is social media, because if it blows up, then I have nothing. And so I'm all about the money is in the list. And so I have about 4,000 people on my mailing list. And so I've integrated my Gumroad to where you buy a digital product on Gumroad and it kind of goes to my list. And so I've kind of figured that part out. Inspiration. So one of my great friends, her name is Cece, the six-figure chick. She was really big on creating. She's made millions of dollars from creating digital products. She's the one who inspired me to start creating digital products. And so she is all about social media and growing the list. And so I've learned a lot from her. She's a six-figure chick. Also, Ashley Ann, King Ashley Ann. She's really big about sales and strategy and development. And so those are kind of my two inspirations of who I follow and who I aspire to become in this digital lane. As far as topics, I just teach my clients what I do. I'm all about giving you my business model. It worked. I've made a lot of money doing it. I've gave it to my clients. And so I'm all about giving my clients my business model and what I do. So if I learn something new, I'm going to make a class on how I did it and selling it from there. And so that's kind of where my topics come from. My metrics, 70% of my clientele is repeat clientele. And so that's how I kind of manage my metrics, because I launched so much the same people are always in the same stuff. Because remember, you buy something from me once, you get a discount on something else. And so I'm really big about, you know, building my following and converting it there. And so the same people are in the same stuff. And so I've built this community where everybody knows everybody because they're always in my programs and in my classes. And so that's kind of how I measure my metrics. Like, it's 70 people in here. Now we're at about 82%, where I have a repeat clientele of 82%. So I'm really big about my metrics, whether it's from, did they open the email? Did they respond back? Before they were buying, they were talking back to me. So are they talking to you? Are they telling you what they like and what they don't like? And also, are they paying? Like, we need to move the bottom line and get our business cash flow in order. So are they paying? Like, are they just coming to get free content? And so a lot of people have trained their audience to come to them for free. And then when you start to say, well, it's not free no more, it costs, but it was the same stuff you was giving me before. So like, why is there a fee? And so I'm really big about, you know, like I said, teaching my audience to spend money with me, whether it's that $10, $9, $19. If you want the value, you're going to have to invest in yourself like I did. And so that's kind of how I measure my metrics.
So for me personally, I started off mostly on Instagram, kind of built my audience there, and then went on Twitter. You know, as I started working my way up and learning the Twitter game, I met Chris Johnson. We got like an all-star team. I kind of think of like Sierra, Julia, Todd. Those are all fantastic. Ed, you know, people I've heard of. You know, those are people that I look at as far as inspiration. When it comes to like marketing and everything, like I said, you know, moving from Instagram to Twitter, I utilize both, you know, with, you know, Twitter having 20,000 followers and Instagram almost having 40,000. Me personally, I just think about, you know, whether or not I'm giving the game out on, you know, either platform. It doesn't matter which one, as long as I'm giving it out. The value that whatever I have in my head, I'm trying to get it out to as many people as possible. So, you know, sometimes, you know, the way I think of these platforms is, you know, Instagram is more so of the image, you know what I mean? And Twitter is more so of the mentality of the words. So that's more so for me. So me personally, I gravitate towards things that work best for me. Just like Ed was saying, you got to work towards stuff or work with stuff that works best for you. It's not going to be the same for everybody. So what is for everybody is trying every single one of those platforms though. And that's key, because, you know, you may work good with Twitter and Instagram and it may not work good with TikTok and Pinterest, you know what I mean? Or it might be vice versa. So I say you use all three, or use however many platforms you possibly can, get as much of a reach as possible. And then as far as metrics, you know, I'm huge on Facebook ads. So I look at, you know, every single possible metric. As far as like looking on Gumroad, I'm looking at, like Bianca was saying, like customer return rates, conversion percentages. And then, you know, a big thing that contributes to those is, you know, adding referrals, or not referrals, reviews. And then the descriptions that you're having within the content that you're selling, it has to be something that's going to lead people into the funnel, like she was saying, and purchasing from you. So, you know, those are the things that I look out for. And, you know, those are the platforms that I personally use and how I use them.
Yeah, so for me, I think probably on the topic of Twitter and the audience, one mistake. So I get a lot of questions almost every day, like people telling me, you know, I created this book on Gumroad, but nobody's buying. And I ask them, but how many views are you getting? And they tell me, you know, just 20 views or whatever. And I think I wouldn't really give advice on whether you should use Twitter or Instagram or whatever, right? But I think it's important to see this as a business. You need to have a good strategy, at least. I mean, nothing is ever certain, but you need to have a good idea of how are you going to find your customers? How are people going to know about you? And like everyone else was saying, I think it depends a lot on your circumstances, what you're doing, which platforms you enjoy most. But it's good to have a strategy, because otherwise, this idea that you create something, you put it out there, and people will just materialize is very dangerous. I mean, you end up losing lots of time very easily. So definitely, I've seen lots of people managing to be successful with digital products without having no audience anywhere. So it's not necessarily a requirement. Some people manage to do it with either paid ads or search engine optimization, or managing to get testimonials from a few influential people, right? So there's definitely other strategies, but it's good to have an idea at least. On inspiration, yeah, so I think lots of people, I think there was a time last year when I was buying lots of Gumroad products, pretty much everything that was showing up that was probably under $20, I was just buying it, just mostly out of curiosity. Sometimes I was just fascinated by people, trying to make a living out of these things. And then I started to realize, after I seeing this content, wow, this is an interesting format. Like started seeing these courses where they were just, somebody prepared a few slides, you press record on Zoom, like what we're doing here, you talk over your topic, and you put it online. Right? I think, I can't even remember, there were a bunch of people that inspired me a little bit. I wouldn't probably mention just, there wasn't one specific person, but I think the format really inspired me to make me believe like this is something that I can do. On metrics, to be honest, I do follow some metrics. For example, I experimented a little bit with paid ads, and I obviously made sure that that they were being profitable and things like that. But in general, I like to go more by gut feel and instinct, and just I don't really obsess too much on where is everyone coming from and try to optimize everything. I take a look, obviously, at my Gumroad app every day, like to make sure, to sort of get a feeling, get a bit of the pulse of the business. If the sales are dropping, it might trigger me to try to do a promotion or something, but I don't really go and, track every single click or every measurement. Maybe I'm missing out. Like, it's not necessarily advice, but it's just how I how I like to go about it.
This has been terrific. We've gone over time. Appreciate you doing so to round out those questions. So allow me to wrap up here with just a few comments. The first is thank you to all four of you for joining us. You represent a real all-star group of creators and an inspiration to, I think, a whole host of people who look up to you and have learned a lot from this session. And thanks as well to everyone who's joined to learn from our creators, and thank you for supporting Gumroad. It's a tremendous community of creators and growing. So thank you to everyone in the audience. And maybe one final comment is to all of the folks in the audience, check out the products from our panelists. They are bound to make you learn and to inspire you.
Bet on yourself. I've really been in this journey where, life is just too short, and, I would rather, plan my success on purpose than to let it be up to someone else. And so I've really been on this journey. And this year, I have a word of the year every year that I just kind of live by. And my word of the year this year has been audacity. That I have the audacity to create, the life that I want, and I am great, and I am worthy, and I am ready to accept all things that God has for me. And I'm willing to, put in the work so that he can order my steps. And so that has been my affirmation for the year. And so I've been repeating it and saying it, and I've made what I've made last year in only like 4 months of this year. And I think it's just because I just decided this year to just bet on me. And, whatever challenges that came my way, I was willing to tackle them, but I was also ready to accept them. And so I want you to just really just what you've learned from this session to just, bet on yourself and just try it. And failure is a process, and there's levels to failing. Like, we fail every day, but we figure out how to make it work. And so I want you to, start failing fast, if that would be the advice that I would give. Also, you can follow me at Bianca S. Robinson here on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram, on all platforms. And yeah, you come to my Gumroad store too. It's Kate and K e-learning. And so I'll talk to them about if they can kind of send it out when they send the recordings, like send our handles and stuff, so we can make sure that we all stay connected. But thanks for coming.
Any closing remarks from the others?
Yeah, I got something. Just remember that if you don't do it, look, I always say you only need 1% to rock better than 99% of the other people. You don't need a big audience. If you can get 1,000 people to give you to pay you $100 over the course of an entire year, that's not a bad salary, man. That's $100,000, and that's not unreasonable. That is within the realm of anyone who has lived a life and learned something. So just put it out there, man. You would be absolutely surprised who wants to learn what you know, and because there's a whole giant world of humans out there who need solutions to many problems, some of which you definitely have. And even if it's not the best solution, it's better than the one that they were getting for free. And so just get out there, make some stuff, bet on yourself, and love life.
I like that.
Dontez or Daniel?
Yeah, so I was going to say, I completely agree. I think probably my final comment is that, again, reflecting on a question I get often is that many people tell me, but I don't have anything to talk about. Like, yes, you knew about this topic and it was easy for you. But I would really challenge that. Actually, I think I would bet that probably everyone, like probably even somebody just starting life who's just still probably 18-year-old, has some experiences or some knowledge that others would find interesting. And I think these are the opportunities for creating stuff around them. Whether it's to monetize them or to build an audience, that's sort of a detail. But I think probably something that I use to trigger my inspiration is that I look at what people in real life come to me and ask me about, right? For example, when I was leaving my job, it was a big thing for me because it was a nice, highly paid, cushy job. And everyone that I knew about was asking me, but why are you leaving? You're crazy. Like, what's happening? And I was spending like hours talking with people, explaining my motivation and what I was going to be doing. And these are the kinds of things. And again, like, this was nothing extraordinary. I was just leaving a job, like nothing nothing out of this world. But I think these are the inspirations that can sometimes trigger you to either start sharing with people online, or maybe create monetizable content and things like that. So that's it.
And last comment from me, me being so young, and a lot of people might resonate with this, or people in the audience, or even if you're older than me, is let your why drive you. Me having a kid at a young age, me growing up in the environment that I grew up, and just understanding that there's other opportunities out there. So let your why, whether it be your family, whether it be the job that you hate, whether it be, the lack of money that you have in your pocket, let that drive you to do whatever you need to do. The stuff that you want to do are always going to be there. So do the stuff that you need to do for yourself so you can free up your time. Your time is the most precious thing you'll ever have. And then one last thing is I would say is follow people that show you that different things are possible. I wouldn't be here if I didn't see that, people got huge payouts, and, a lot of people, mess with one person or something like that. I wouldn't have gotten here if I didn't see that already. So you need to, follow people who will show you that things are possible, as well as follow people who challenge your thinking and your perspective of thinking. Like Ed was saying, Chris is a person who will, definitely change your perspective on things and then show you why. So, let your why drive you, and then, focus on, following people who will challenge your thinking, and, just be willing and be ready to learn, and be willing to fail. And like Bianca said, fail fast, as fast as you can.
Thank you all again. Thank you to the audience and to the panelists, and look out for the next series of Gumroad Studio.